Hi, I'm Perry Atkinson, General Manager here at theDove. Hey, check out our other videos and check out our website at thedove.us. What a delight today to have in the studio with us Monica Wehby, Dr. Monica Wehby. She is the Republican candidate running against sitting Senator Jeff Merkley, U.S. Senator Jeff Merkley, and we're delighted to have you here. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
You surviving?
Oh, yeah, we're having a great time.
Did you ever expect all of this when you joined in?
It's been crazy. It's been very busy. We're doing our last swing around the state now. We're going everywhere in this last 10 days. And this third day of our trip, we went to Salem yesterday. We started out in Portland, Salem, did a great event last night with at the GOP office.
Good for you.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
So let's go back to the beginning. Why are you doing this? You're a very accomplished physician, and thank you for your work.
Thank you.
But to go from that into politics is quite the leap.
Well, you know, I've been involved in medical politics for about 30 years and been president of our medical association here in Portland Medical Society, Oregon Medical Association, and involved at the national level, AMA and all, National Neurosurgery, but actually ran our tort reform campaign. Do you remember that, Measure 35 back in 2004? Wow. Yeah, so we were trying to get the cap on non-economic damages because we were losing our doctors. Right. So I've been involved quite a bit in the past. In 2009, when they were trying to push the Obamacare legislation through, was involved trying to make that better even back in 2009. So I've been working on that for years. But the main reason I decided to run now was because I honestly felt like I could help. You know, I talk about a little brain tumor patient I had that gave me a thank you note that said, if we're not here to make life better for one another, then what's the point? And I've always tried my whole life to make things better and to use whatever talent or ability that I had to try to make things better. And things are going in the wrong direction now, and I figured I could just complain about it or try to get out there and change it.
All right, so how much of Obamacare and the failure of Cover Oregon was your motivation?
Well, I thought that this was a great opportunity and a great time to get in. If I was ever going to try to run, that now was the time, because healthcare is such a big issue right now. And I've been working on that for, like I said, for decades, trying to have high quality, affordable care for everybody. And that's the goal of the healthcare law, but it's not what we're seeing. You know, everybody got thrown off their plans. You know, 150,000 Oregonians lost their insurance coverage. The prices are going up for everybody. It's a problem.
Well, now we're forced to default to Obamacare, to the federal plan.
Right.
I mean, there's no way out. We haven't signed up one. It's a mess, and everybody's suing everybody.
Right.
Is there any solution to this thing?
I think we need to get back to a patient-centered, free market approach where the doctor and the patient are back in control of their health care. I think if we wanted to expand Medicaid, then we could have expanded Medicaid without throwing the rest of the system into chaos, which is what happened. The problem is that, you know, the government is telling people what they have to buy as opposed to giving people the option. And if we could get back to putting the patient back into control, then that would really make a huge difference.
Senator Merkley, one of the most liberal senators in the Senate, his voting record with Obama is staggering.
98% with his party.
I mean, that's
98.
Unbelievable.
Do you remember when he ran against Gordon Smith back in 2008, and he was saying that he's way too extreme because he votes with Bush 90% of the time. And look what he's doing, 98.
And
98.
we have a presidency and an administration that's in severe meltdown.
Right.
And now we have a governorship that seems to be in meltdown.
Right.
I would assume this is leaning your way.
I'm optimistic, and we're getting a lot of momentum now. And you know, the key issue is jobs and the economy. Here in Medford, gosh, unemployment's 9%, and that's not even counting the people who have just given up and stopped looking for work. And then the timber industry here. I mean, Merkley won't even work with Wyden trying to get this the timber industry policy through. Granted, Walden's plan is far superior and much better. But we're not even seeing Senator Merkley get involved in trying to make things better. It's very disappointed. He's really not shown any leadership for anything. What, he's passed one bill in 6 years? He's done nothing to help our community.
But he plays ping pong well.
Well, I don't know if he does or not. I don't know. I'd like to challenge him to ping pong.
He dropped the ball on the garage floor.
We couldn't get him to. Somebody was telling me, they said, Monica, since you can't get him to come out and do any debates, you might as well challenge him to a game of ping pong.
Well,
maybe he'll do that.
All right. Senator Merkley reported in Oregonian, the only U.S. senator that's in favor of supporting marijuana. Your response?
Well, all I can say about that is that I'm a pediatric neurosurgeon, so I care a lot about the developing brain. I also am the mom of 4 teenagers, and the concerns I have about medical marijuana, I think is there is an indication for medical marijuana, but as far as recreational marijuana, the concerns I have are that it's related to an increase in psychiatric illness. It has been shown to drop IQ by 8 points. I mean, I don't know how many of us have 8 extra IQ points to spare, but it has been shown to do that. It's been directly linked to increased motor vehicle accidents. Makes it very difficult for our law enforcement because it's not like alcohol where you can just do a breathalyzer test and know if someone's intoxicated. You have to, check their blood and do a blood draw. It's a difficult situation. If I had my druthers, what I would do would be wait and see what happens in Colorado and Washington, see how it plays out there for a year or two, and let them sort of be the guinea pigs. Well,
it doesn't seem to go well for those 2 states. At the end of the day, isn't it a mind-altering drug?
Yes, but I think I'm more concerned about the permanent injury that it causes to the brain, particularly the young developing brain. But we'll see what the state decides. It's up to the state, and we'll go with whatever they believe, but because it is on the ballot. But as a doctor, I do have some concerns about it.
Several other big issues on the ballot. Measure 92, GMO, it's a labeling issue. I had a physician on my show just a little while ago, Dr. Joel Klein, and we were talking about antibiotics and biotics and all that, and probiotics.
Right.
And I have become a label reader.
Have you? No.
Well, and I actually read the paper of the side effects of prescriptions. I actually read some of that stuff. So it appears this has momentum. It passed down here in Jackson County. It's not the same bill here as it is on the state level, but it is a label issue. Where are you with that? Well,
there are some issues with that bill in that it is going to increase cost for families. I've heard $400 a year or so per household increased cost for the labeling. And the concern I have is that it would be one just in our state. So we would have a different labeling system than the rest of the country, which makes it more difficult and more expensive for our farmers. I think the best answer to something like, and then again, it doesn't even cover all the foods either. So it's not really doing what you want that labeling
it's a different bill than what was in Jackson County.
So this bill doesn't label all of food. So it's not really accomplishing what you're trying to accomplish. So the main concern I have about it is the cost that there's going to be for our families with it. But the better answer, I think, would be to allow people to label non-GMO or to label organic, which is a voluntary thing, and people can already do that, and that accomplishes the same goal.
One other quick medical question, then we'll take a break. But Ebola.
Yes.
It's serious.
Yes.
And are we handling this okay?
Oh gosh, I would have put in, we called for a travel ban for non-essential travel ban from West African countries that are involved. gosh, I believe it was 2 weeks ago that we asked to do that, because it's an infectious disease. It's highly contagious and infectious. And so if you don't, we all know that you've got to isolate the source to prevent it from spreading. And what they're doing now, where they're just screening for fever, we're seeing that you may not have a fever at the time, and that virus incubates, meaning you're infected, and it can take 2 or 3 weeks before you show a symptom. And if we wait until people show symptoms, then you see what happens. You've got to backtrack and try to find all their contacts.
It just doesn't seem that this administration's really, I mean, I'm not saying they don't take it serious, but it has been politicized. Why aren't we just saying, all right, nobody coming into the country until we have this figured out? I mean, Portland's a sitting duck.
Right.
I mean, we could get it in Portland really.
That's right. That's right. I don't know why. I mean, they've turned it into a political issue. I mean, we can have our workers go back and forth, our healthcare workers go back and forth, but not limiting non-essential travel just makes no sense at all.
You think Oregon is prepared for it? I mean, OHSU, others, do you think we're ready?
Well, I know at Legacy and the other, the hospital I work at, Emmanuel Hospital, I know that they're all trying to get ready, and we have had infectious diseases, contagious diseases before. We do have isolation rooms. I think the key is preventing it from getting here as much as possible, and then not having to backtrack and try to go back and find every contact which someone gets here.
From your medical connection, is there a serum that works or kind of works?
I understand that there is a treatment for, or vaccination that can be used, but right now what you have to do is just support the victim when they get sick, support the patient when they're sick.
Okay. We got a lot more questions.
Yes.
Dr. Monica Wehby's with us today. She's Republican candidate for the U.S. Senate representing Oregon. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back with Dr. Monica Wehby. She is a Republican candidate for the U.S. Senate representing the state of Oregon. She's up against sitting Senator Jeff Merkley. We're down to the last few days before everybody turns in their ballots, and you're hot on the trail.
Yes.
Have you been in all 36 counties?
We've been everywhere more than once. More than once.
So what have you learned from this experience so far?
Oh, gosh. I will tell you, in retrospect, one thing that I would have done differently would have been trust my instincts more. Because I think sometimes we're not as aggressive in doing what we want to do because, you get talked out of it or whatever. But I think that would be one thing I would have done more so. But one thing that I learned is that the way things just spin, being a doctor, I'm used to living in a world of truth and reality and facts. and it has been really funny to see this.
Did you know you were that bad of a person?
I had no idea. This is what I was going to say. You have there's Merkley's Monica, where I'm a complete caricature of who I am. You'd never know I'm actually a very nice, wonderful person. But things get spun out of control. We were talking a second ago about the debates. He was saying we didn't want to do any debate. We were negotiating 5 debates. We wanted to do 5 televised debates. He would only do the one, but somehow it got spun onto us as being the ones who didn't want to do it. I mean, things like that is just crazy.
I can't understand that.
Yeah.
I've been a victim of that myself.
Yeah, it's frustrating, but I think as people are finding out a little more about who I am and what I stand for and who I really am, that they're coming to our side, because just look at the way things are going. The economy is a disaster. We've had more people go on food stamps than find a job in the last 6 years. Merkley says he's a champion of the middle class, but everything has gotten worse for our middle class. $3,000 a year less per family since 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. And unemployment rate in Oregon is high, over a percentage point higher. Medford, very high, 9%. And we've got to turn this around. But the rich people, the well-connected, the cronies, love Senator Merkley's policies, because 95% of the wealth has gone to that top 1%. So for all of his talk And for all of his and Obama's talk about, oh yeah, things are turning around. Well, people don't buy that because they're not seeing it.
Well, and they're not feeling it.
Right.
All right, let's talk about some issues that if you became senator, I mean, we are in this incredible war on terror.
Right.
It doesn't seem to be going well. I don't know what our policy is. Can you tell me what the policy is?
No, because we don't have a policy.
Okay.
We don't have a coherent foreign strategy, and that is the problem. We don't have one, and we're very reactive. And so everything, and you see over and over again how this administration is caught by surprise. They're always caught by surprise by everything. Yeah. ISIS, IRS scandal, NSA, everything surprises this administration. What we're doing now with terrorism, Obama calling the ISIS the JV team. I mean, clearly he has no idea what's going on out there.
If it looks like it's a real possibility the Republicans could take the Senate.
I hope so.
And that's leaning in that direction.
I hope so.
And if you're elected, you'd be one more vote there.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So with that in mind, the president seems to be, it's possible that you could have a Republican-controlled House, a Republican-controlled Senate, and a president that could go into kamikaze mode and legislate by executive order. Immigration being one of them, amnesty. He's now, you probably have seen all the headlines. He's talking about a green card for 30-some-odd million people.
Right.
How would you fight that? How would you shut this guy down?
Well, see, I think that's a real problem when you start doing everything by executive order, because it's all just going to unravel at some point. And I think this is a problem that we're really seeing with Obama, is that he really has a hard time working with anybody. And that is a huge problem that we have now in our government, is people can't work together. This is the most polarized things have ever been. Of course, Jeff Merkley is a poster child for polarization, voting 98% of the time with his party and being rated the most extreme senator in the Senate. He's just poster boy for that. And then, perfect example of that is of this polarization is his part in the IRS scandal. He was one of the 7 senators that wrote that letter to the IRS asking them to investigate groups based on their political beliefs. And then he turns around and feigns, oh, I just can't believe they would do that. Well, they were responding to his request to do that. And I don't think Oregonians would be very proud to know that about their junior senator, that he was using a federal agency to target groups that disagreed with him. And
I mean, that's almost impeachable stuff.
I know. I'm telling you, it's terrible. And I know. I mean, I've been on the receiving end of some of his attacks.
Yeah.
But that's what he does. They try to silence their opposition. They try to vilify their opposition. You'll see if you look at his ads and things, he can't discuss the issues. It's all about vilification and attacking the opponent because he can't stand on his record.
The 3 hated letters in the United States is IRS.
Yes.
Okay, and if you've ever been the victim of an audit, you know what I'm talking about. What I find so interesting is that those arguing this case have never made a payroll. They haven't got the foggiest idea what it is to be in business. And this stuff is going on. Would you be in favor of a simple tax, a fair tax, a flat tax? I mean, how could we tell the IRS go away?
It would be nice if we could, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And I tell you, I think that we've got to make a much more fair and flat tax code. It's 72,000 pages, our tax code.
Yeah.
And when
Did you read it?
my daddy was a CPA, an accountant, and but it was 72,000 pages, and when you've got that many exceptions and loopholes. The people that can afford to have the tax attorneys and all the CPAs are the ones who benefit, not our middle class, working class people that can't afford to have that done. And that's a big problem. I think we need it to be more fair, more flat, without all of these loopholes.
Would you vote in favor to continue the investigation?
Of the IRS?
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's clear that groups were targeted. And they just keep seeming to, I mean, can you imagine telling the IRS when they want your records to say, "Oh, gee, my computer crashed, so you have to let me go"? I mean, we're supposed to let them slide with all this simultaneously crashing computers all over the place, right? Really?
You
know?
Yeah, right.
They don't treat us quite that way, do they?
No, they don't. What about Benghazi? Would you vote in favor of keeping that investigation going?
I think we still have not gotten to the bottom of what's happened there. I think we still have not solved this issue.
What is your position on the United States' relationship with Israel?
I think that we do have to support our ally, our major democracy out there in the Middle East, and it's clear that there's a lot of tension, between the countries there with Netanyahu and Obama. I think the big problem with this is that this whole thing that's going on in the Middle East is our allies don't feel like they can trust us. Our enemies don't fear us. And when that happens, everything starts to unravel. Drawing red lines that we don't back up, and not being there to support, at least making it clear that there's support for our ally.
Would you think that Israel's enemies are our enemies?
I think in most cases, yeah.
So, I mean, to me, it would be a no-brainer, but we seem
absolutely.
to be running away from them for some reason. At least this administration does.
Well, this administration seems to be running away from everything. Again, they're very reactive, and it seems to me that their foreign policy, Obama, which is all rubber-stamped by Jeff Merkley, since he agrees 98% of the time, all of their foreign policy is very reactive and very withdrawn, and so we are not being the world leader that we need to be. And when there's a vacuum in leadership, somebody else is going to step up and fill it. I mean, we're seeing it with Putin, and we've seen it with the situations in the Middle East.
All right, I only got a few seconds left. I'm going to let you sell me on yourself. Or not, well, actually our audience.
Well,
no, but
I think
you've been in this for a while.
Right.
It's been a real experience for you,
it has.
obviously, in education.
It has.
And it appears with what's going on nationally and what's going on now at the state leadership, this would give you some real momentum. And I don't know what your own polling shows, but I've heard you're moving up.
We're doing very well, and I want people to get out there and vote, because this election is tight and it's going to swing on who gets out to vote. Right. And the Republicans are a big tent party. We may not all agree on every single aspect of everything, but we have got to stick together and get out there and win this election. And I think I can summarize it best by saying, if you like the direction things are going, if you like that our incomes are dropping, that prices are going up, that our world is much less safe and secure now, if you like that direction, then Merkley's your guy. But if you want to change direction, if we want to start growing jobs, start growing our economy, get our healthcare system fixed, get people back working in the woods again in our timber counties, make our world safe and strong, stop running our foreign policy by polling, which is what Obama keeps doing, just polling data directs his foreign policy and his military exercises rather than truth and what needs to be done, and listening to experts like our military experts. If you like that direction, then Merkley's your guy. If you want to change things and get things going again, I'm your girl.
Dr. Monica Wehby, how do they get a hold of you if people want to correspond with you?
Go to our website, Monica for Oregon, F-O-R, monica4oregon.com. We really need their help with volunteers, phone calls, door knocking. Get out and vote.
And here you are, down to the last week.
That's right.
Nice to see you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.